Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be diving into a sample that was sent to me by a buddy of mine, and I feel like I'm going to blind this one because the way he was talking about it, he's like, hey, did you try that sample yet? Let me know. So he sent me an email which says what it is, which I have not opened yet. So we will try this sample, and maybe he's overhyping it, maybe he's not, but we will find out. So I'll give some notes on how it tastes, what I'm picking up out of the nose. Maybe we'll make some predictions. Is it Scotch? Is it rye? Is it bourbon? Is it a blend? Is it finished in something? Is it not a finished product? What's the proof point on it? All that stuff. We'll make some predictions. We'll see how it pans out, and maybe even this could be fun. Maybe I'll guess the price point too. I don't know. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew or overestimate my abilities. In fact, the last time I did a blind, I have a pretty good track record with blinds on my channel, but the last one I did, it was a lineup of Wild Turkey products, and I placed the most expensive bottle on the table by a landslide. I put it in dead last, so maybe this will be my redemption. As I'm pouring this and letting it open up a bit, a polite reminder that if you want to join our Discord, you can do that. There's a link in the description. Join our Discord. We talk about whiskey and other things, share bottles that we're enjoying and some notes on them, make recommendations, stuff like that. Just hang out, chat about whiskey. Also, if you've been enjoying the content lately, let me know by leaving a like on the video. You can subscribe for additional whiskey content, but liking the video or leaving a comment, those are things called interactions, and they help push the videos out there for new people to find the channel. So greatly appreciate any and every one of those. All right, I mean, even just pouring this, I got a little whiff of it. It's got a little heat on the nose in terms of ABV. I haven't had any whiskey today, so a high proof point, I don't want to blow anything out by just shoving my schnoz on in there. But you get a healthy dose of that barrel funk, that warehouse funk that you get in a hot warehouse in the summer heat, Almost like sticky wood, like a plank of wood with some maple syrup dripping off of it, some sap, something like that. A little bit of brown sugar. And almost like this lovely black cherry note on the nose too. That's a pretty nice nose. Let's go in on it. Let's give it a try. Man. There's a little bit of heat that hits you up front. Probably because it's my first sip of the day. But I get definitely a higher proof point on this. I'm thinking, well, I'll wait to make a guess until I settle into it a little bit. But I get a little bit of that heat up front. And then tons, just tons of oak on that palate. Just dumping a full oak barrel onto my palate there. But it's accompanied with this nice brown sugar, and that black cherry note comes through as well, right alongside this almost like a cognac, like a distilled wine, cognac, Armagnac, one of those. Those dark, rich flavors you get from a distilled wine. Like on the finish, is like that oak intertwined with some holiday spice, like cinnamon and clove. Something you'd get in a holiday tea or something. Let's give it a little visual inspection here too. I wanted to look at this because I feel like it's leaving a nice coating on my mouth. It's got some viscosity to it. Not a ton, but it is definitely a little bit oily in the glass, leaving a little bit of a film around the outside of the glass there and up towards the rim. You can see that line where it's been rolling around there. So it's got some nice viscosity to it. Going back in for a second sip, that proof is a little bit more diminished now that I'm a little bit more acclimated to it. Tons of oak coming through front and center, right in the middle of that palate. Finishing on those dark fruit notes like that black cherry and those distilled wine notes I was getting like the cognac. That's a seriously good sip. All right, let me make some predictions here. I'm gonna write them down as I make them. Let's start with proof. I'm gonna guess the proof on this is around maybe between 110 and 120. Maybe I'm gonna land somewhere. I'm gonna call it 112. And say the proof is 112. Oh, type. Is it bourbon? Is it rye? Is it Scotch? Irish? A blend? That's definitely, well, I shouldn't say definitely, because then if I say definitely, then I'll be wrong. But that's bourbon. There may be a little bit of rye in the mash bill somewhere, but it's not a lot if it is. It's not coming through with those peppercorn notes or a long mellowed out rye yellow fruit note. I'm not getting those. So I'm going to fall off the log and say that's bourbon. Is it finished? That's a tough question because I am getting, like I said, I was getting those dark fruit notes like the cognac, and I've had a lot of like cigar blend bottles recently. You know, I've had the Amburana one from Starlight. I've had Joseph Magnus cigar blend. I've had the Old Elk cigar cut, and a lot of those. Well, the latter two of those definitely had cognac finishes, and I'm getting a little bit of a cognac finish on this as well. But I don't think I'm getting more oak than anything else. So I almost want to say if it is finished, it's maybe like a toasted barrel kind of a thing. So I'm going to say finished. Yes. I'm going to say yes, it is finished. If I had to guess, I would say it is finished in something, maybe a toasted barrel of some kind, like a double oaked product. Oh, and then price point. So if we're landing on a price point, I almost want to ask the question, what is this supposed to be competing against? Because that will give us an indication. Like if it's competing against things like Old Forester 1920, Rare Breed, then we're looking at that $60-ish price point. But if I feel like this is the kind of thing that would be going toe-to-toe with, say, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, maybe we're looking more at like the $80 price range. Or if I think this is maybe supposed to be going toe-to-toe with something like the Discovery series. Maybe it's at the, $140. Calumet 16, we're looking at that $140 price point. And I think that's where I'm leaning towards, is that's the kind of company this sip would keep. It would keep company with things like Calumet 16, with Bardstown Discovery series. So I'm gonna guess that 140 price point on this. Proof, I'm saying 112. Type, bourbon, finished, yeah. Price, 140. Let's check the email, let's see what it is. L sample key. If you open the email, you'll see it. It's in plain text inside. It says, Lux Row 12 year. Hey! Okay, so here's what I think I know about Lux Row 12 year. One, I think it's hard to come by. I don't think it's an easy bottle to find, if memory serves me correctly. I've seen it on the secondary around $300, but I don't know if that's the MSRP. I think MSRP is probably half that. Lux Row 12 year. So this is traditionally sourced whiskey, sourced Kentucky bourbon, and it is I think they call it a 2-barreled bourbon. And I said it's finished, which I think is technically incorrect, because if I remember correctly, isn't Lux Row's 2-barrel thing, it's really small batches and they just blend 2 barrels together, right? So it's not like a secondary barrel, it's literally 2 barrels in a small batch blended together. So if my understanding is correct, this is actually not finished, so I would be wrong there. I'd be right about bourbon. I said proof was 112. Lux Row's 118. I should know this because it's isn't the proof is supposed to be a nod to when they opened their distillery, which is in 2018. And then it's like 118 point something, and I think the point something is the month they opened. I gotta look it up now. Yeah, so it's 118.4 proof because they opened in April of 2018. So the proof point is like a nod to the distillery's genesis, right? Sourcing bourbon whiskey. I was right, so that it's a double barrel is what they call it, a double barrel bourbon. They take 2 barrels, blend them together. So I was wrong on finished. I was close-ish on the proof. I said 112. It's 118. So I'm within 10. I'm going to take that. I will take that. I'm under 10 points of proof away. Technically like 6.8 off. That's not bad at all. I'm going to call that a win. So I'm 2 out of 3. And then price. I said 140 was the price point for what it would be competing against. Lux Row's MSRP. Lux Row MSRP generally falls around $150. So the MSRP is $150. I was pretty much spot on in that regard. But again, I doubt this article says you're only going to get it at the distillery gift shop. I'm going to check it out on the secondary. Holy cow. The secondary market is stupid. It's just stupid. Oh man, this website is trying to sell that bottle, which MSRP is $150, right? They're trying to sell it for $525. This one, Cask Cartel, aptly named Cartel, because it's criminal. They're selling this bottle for $650. That is insane. Do not buy off the secondary unless you are actually getting a decent price. That's highway robbery at that point. Well, I mean, and I suppose an item's value really is up to you as the consumer. So, I mean, if this bottle is something you've been hunting for a long time, and you're like, at this point, I just want to have it. I have the cash I've got the extra coin to spend, and maybe you want to buy it on the secondary, that's fine. But I cannot recommend that you should go spend $500 plus on a Lux Row 12-year. But hey, at MSRP, I think this is phenomenal. This is a great sip. So thank you very much for sharing this with me, Matt. I appreciate you, brother. That right there is a unicorn bottle, for sure. So much oak. And that black cherry cognac notes. It's delicious. So what do we rate it? I suppose I should give it a rating. Per my scale, let me pull my scale up here, see what boxes it ticks. So if you are able to get it for MSRP, I'm going to score it based on if you were to get it at MSRP, not a markup. And at $150, I would say I'm going to call that, looking at my scale, I'm going to call that an 8.8. That's really high. I think that is fantastic whiskey. I think I'm a sucker for a lot of oak, and this takes like some of my standard double oaked offerings, even though this isn't technically double oaked. That 12 years in that barrel funk note that we're getting off of that, tons of oak. I think it's taking those flavors you get from a double oaked product and just executing on them very well. So high marks in that regard. So I'm going to say that's an 8.8. If you ever have the chance to get yourself a bottle of Lux Row 12-year at MSRP, $150, I cannot recommend that you pass it up. Thank you so much, Matt, for sharing this with me. This is a delicious dram. And thanks everybody for watching the video today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like on the video and let me know. Cheers! May you live richly and get better with age. Like whiskey. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.